The sports hit list, ladies and gentlemen, by the fans and for the fans. Carl Coulange here with another special Zoom. James Harden versus Allen Iverson. Let me introduce my panel. We have Andres. Andres, welcome back to the show, bro. How you doing?
Amazing. Thank you for having me once again, Carl.
All right.
Appreciate you.
We have Sal for the very first time on the sports hit list. He's an avid member in the group. Sal, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Travis is back. How you doing, bro?
Doing very well, man. Thanks for asking.
For those who don't know, Travis and I go back to first grade. I know Travis since the first grade. We used to color together. That's my boy. So we go way back. And we have, for the first time, too, in Hitless history, one of my students from St. John the Baptist High School, class of 2017, Mr. Jordan Eugene. Jordan, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, let's not waste any time. Allen Iverson versus James Harden. We've seen both players MVP winners. Great guards. Allen Iverson, a great guard in the mid 90s to the 2000s. James Harden, a current guard who's great in the league. And Andres felt it was important that we touch upon this topic. He seems to be not a fan of Allen Iverson. And Andres, I'm going to allow you to open the floor.
I never said that. I said
I'm going to allow you to open the floor. I'm going to allow you to open the floor. So go for it.
So basically, there was this nostalgia thought that Allen Iverson is better than James Harden. And ladies and gentlemen, we are not in 2000 anymore. We are in 2020. We have seen better shooting guards. There's been 3 or 4 that we've seen better than Allen Iverson. So off the top of my head, here's our main reasons why James Harden is better than AI. Who's a better scorer? James Harden. Who's a better rebounder? James Harden. Who's a better assister? James Harden. Who's a better leader? James Harden. Who's a better facilitator? James Harden. Who's better from the 2-pointers? James Harden. Who's better from the 3-point line? James Harden. Who's better from the free throw line? James Harden. Who's better at getting and more efficient to the rim? James Harden. There's not a single statistical category off the top of my head, raw stats, that you can prove to me that Allen Iverson is better than James Harden. But please try to humor me.
Okay. Wonderful opening statements there. Travis, what are your thoughts on Iverson and James Harden?
I think it's closer from a stat. You can't judge it from a stat basis, first of all, like just purely because AI brought a lot more to the court, and to his team than just stats. Like I disagree strongly that he was a better leader. I think he led by example on the court through grit and determination. I think it's a lot closer in stats and rebounds and assists than you might think, and even field goal percentage. So it's something that needs to be re-examined on your part, I think. And beyond that, I think that you only name one side of the ball. From if we're looking at a basketball player from a holistic perspective, we're looking at offense and defense. And mind you, I know especially nowadays, if you're going to weight it out, you'll probably weight defense probably 25% and offense probably 75% of the overall player. But in a category of defense where James Harden is bringing 0 and Allen Iverson's one of the best passing lane defenders in the history of the game, I find it hard to believe it's an open and shut case like Andre stated.
Okay, fair. All fair points there. Thank you, Travis. Jordan, I know you're a big fan of James Harden. Me and you used to have debates in class. So what are your thoughts?
Well, back to what Andres said, when it comes to better scoring, statistic-wise, Harden's best scoring season is better than Iverson's best scoring season. His best rebounding season is better than Iverson's best rebounding season. Every statistic goes down to it besides steals. And I think Iverson leads steals by 0.5 or 4 or something like that. And when it comes to defense as well, it's all around player. When you look at Harden's defense, if you're stuck in 2014 or 2013, you look at Harden's defense, he had some troubles. He would sleep on defense, sure. But nowadays, you have a guy who's now, in the 88th percentile, whose defense is really locked down and is really getting it. A guy who has better win shares than Iverson, higher plus minus, efficiency, field goal percentage, true shooting percentage, whatever you want to go. Most of the things that that could be in conversation between Harden and Iverson, Harden leads Iverson in. So, that's where I am. I'm also with Andres as well. Andres really touched upon it for the most part. But, yeah.
Okay, Sal, what are your thoughts? So we have Andres and Jordan made their points. What are your thoughts on Iverson and Harden?
Well, I was able to hear some of it from Andres. He rattled off every single stat possible, but one that I seem to not hear is James Harden, as a number one, has not been able to take his team to the finals. So we're all about winning. Yes, Iverson didn't win, but he propelled his team to the finals.
So you get a reward for a
And
finals
I know,
appearance?
Hold on, Andres. Let him make his point. He let you speak, my man. Let him speak. Go ahead, Sal.
And I understand that we have spoken, and he uses the narrative of, well, guess who James Harden plays? Well, if you know anything about sports, we never get to pick and choose who we play. So, I mean, as far as a leader, I wouldn't say James Harden is a better leader because he's been MIA in big games.
What makes a better leader?
Hold on,
What?
we seem to be. Go
What
ahead,
makes
Andres.
Allen Iverson
Andres, you had a
better
question?
leader? What makes Allen Iverson a better leader for either of you? What makes him a better leader?
Well, let me ask you, how does James Harden a better leader? What has he done as being a number one scoring threat and the go-to guy on your team? What has he done that Iverson hasn't done?
Do you know how many 50-win seasons the 76ers have with Allen Iverson?
It's a team game, right?
I'm asking you a question. Do you know how many 50-win seasons the Philadelphia 76ers have with Allen Iverson?
Off the top of my head, no, I don't.
But
Only
you know what,
one.
Andres?
No. I'm speaking right now. Allen
So you're
Iverson
telling me to
led
be
the
quiet
76ers
right now? You're telling me to be quiet.
I'm speaking. Allen Iverson led the 76ers to one 50-win season, right? The Houston Rockets prior to James Harden arriving had 9 50-win seasons. James Harden is on pace for 6 of them in 8 years. And he led one of those teams to 65 wins. You know how many times Allen Iverson led his team to 60 wins? 0. You know how many times Ben and Joel Embiid led their team to 50 wins? Twice. So in 2-3 years, Ben and Embiid have done more than Allen Iverson and what he did in 2001. And the whole narrative that, Allen Iverson brought his team to the finals by himself, that is bullshit. Excuse my French. Allen Iverson shot under 40% 13 times in the 2001 finals, and his team still won 7 of those games. In Game 7 against the Toronto Raptors, Allen Iverson shot 5 of 27 from the field. For those that can't do math, that's 19%. In the fourth quarter, he had an astonishing 2 points, and the team still won.
Thanks for the lesson.
Please humor me on how Mr. Allen Iverson is better than James Harden.
Okay, Travis, you want to jump in here, Sal? I'm going to get back to you. Travis,
I would love to. I would love to touch on what Jordan said first. If Harden has made improvements on defense, great. I might give you that. Maybe not. To call him a lockdown defender, he's not even close. There's times, and you mentioned it, and you obviously seemed like some sort of objective fan of his because you did mention he fell asleep. He used to ball watch. His man to be on the other side of the court. He used to close out on air. He used to be defending air. This is coming from Kevin McHale, and former coaches he's had. That and you watch the game, that he just totally fell asleep on defense. He went ghost in Game 6 or Game 7, was it, in 2017? Whatever game they got eliminated.
Game 6. We
Game
remember.
6. Thanks.
No
Thanks,
problem.
host. And the next day he went to a party in Atlanta. And I'm not saying that they can't party, and call me what you want, you know what I mean? But to me, that tells me that something's missing in his chest. Like he doesn't have the same fortitude, not even close to the same fortitude that Allen Iverson has. And I wouldn't even put them in the same sentence. If anything, that 76er team took on the personality of AI and the toughness and the grit and the leadership. That's what they took on and propelled them to get to a final. So again, if I'm going to tell you again, and you asked me to reiterate, if we're looking at a basketball player from a holistic perspective, from a stat perspective, I can't, I'm not going to beat you in a stat argument. But what's 50 wins without going to the finals? What's a king without a crown? What's 60 wins? It looks nice, it looks pretty, and it fits perfectly in a nice box. But what is it really without taking your team to the promised land? And especially in one game in particular, thanks for the clarification, the Game 6 where he just totally, it almost cemented my current perspective on him. He has to prove me different and prove me
So
wrong.
we're rewarding losing in the finals. That's what we're doing? Just to be clear?
No. I'm not rewarding anything. I'm talking about, and you brought in like Ben Simmons. Let's also try to, guys, stay on what we're debating here. If we're making a list of skill sets, intangible, who's better between Allen Iverson and Harden? Nothing to do with Joel Embiid, nothing to do with rewarding anybody.
But it shows.
If I may, the finals, and I'll let you go after this, my apology. The finals appearance, yes, the finals appearance trumps whatever Harden has done. So if we're racing and saying, okay, we're not rewarding a finals appearance, but what's better, a finals appearance or never getting there? I would say a finals appearance.
Okay,
but there's other players that get bashed.
Andres, hold on one second. Jordan's been patiently waiting there in the corner. He hasn't said much. Jordan, you want to jump in here?
I mean, like, to say that, like, oh yeah, you're bringing up 2013, 2014, and you were also like talking about how, we're trying to talk about players like in, you know, what they do on the court. And then to bring up the fact that he went partying after, that's his business. That's James Harden's business. What he did after that, that was his business. Whatever he wanted to do, he wanted to go to the club, release some stress, fine. The season's over for him, go on. But that has nothing to do with the fact that when you're talking about James Harden versus Allen Iverson. Sure, the grit, whatever, the 76ers, 49ers, 76ers.
The cornrows.
Yeah, the cornrows,
I'm not trying to bring in what he did for the culture. Go on, sorry.
I mean, whatever Iverson did for his team, or, you know, him as a leader, sure. I mean, but for a guy to take a struggling Rockets team in 2016 that's dealing with a locker room cancer of Dwight Howard at the time, to take them to 42-40 or 41-41 and be the 8th seed and to actually make the playoffs and somehow drag this team from the gutter over the Jazz, even though the Jazz lost in Kobe's last game. Rest in peace to Kobe. But, you know, like, for that to happen, like, this is a real leader. Like, this guy on the court, like, just to have him, I mean, you bring up game 6, that's one game. It's almost like if I just brought up, and it is a big game, sure, but
it was a big game.
Yeah, there's other big games where Harden has showed up. There's other big games.
So let me ask you this. So let me say this. What about, you say it's only 1 year, but what about the following year when you get Chris Paul, right? And
they won 65 games, and then Chris Paul's hamstring died, unfortunately.
So that's what you're saying, is that's the reason they lost that game. But we don't assess the stats. But you love stats. I'm just asking questions. You like stats, right?
I absolutely do love stats. Basketball revolves around stats. Yes.
Okay, so the stats in James Harden in that closeout game.
Baseball revolves around stats. Basketball doesn't revolve around stats in the same way that baseball.
No. The stats are there for a reason. You can't just say that stats aren't involved. They're there for a reason.
But baseball is a way more statistically driven game.
You could use analytics in basketball too. Baseball's not the only sport. You could use analytics in soccer. You could use analytics in football. You could use analytics in any sport.
Okay, so back to my original point about stats. A lot of fans tend to blame James Harden for that 2018. Chris Paul's not playing, but the Rockets still have a chance to win that series, and they don't.
Absolutely,
they don't close it out. And a lot of people blame James Harden in terms of his performance in that Game 7. So
why is he getting blamed?
Do we not remember the statistics in that game of how the Houston Rockets missed 27 threes that game, and James Harden went 2 for 13? I'm just giving you the stats.
The whole 2 for 13 stuff doesn't have context.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Sal. Jump right in. Go ahead.
Andres, back to your question about asking me how many seasons did the Sixers win 50 games. You're all about stats, so here's a stat. Where have all those seasons that his team has won over 50 games, 60 games, and how come they still can't get to the finals? Let's give me a legitimate answer to that question. You wanted me to answer? So go ahead. Make up some excuse. Go ahead.
Look at the team in front of him, though. AI had subpar performances in the 0-1 playoffs, and his team was still able to win games. You want to know why? Because he had a good team around him. The whole myth that, he dragged them by himself, that's a myth. That's in 2000 that we thought that. It's 2020. Look at the stats. Look at the on and off. Look at how the team performed better with Allen Iverson on the bench in the playoffs. They outscored their opponents by 5 points per game when Allen Iverson was on the bench.
So basically, what you're saying is that the team could have went to the finals without Iverson. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that Allen Iverson could be slotted with Russell Westbrook and they make the final. James Harden, they make the final. Chris Paul, they make the final. What are we talking about?
So again, just
why
say
haven't these players brought their teams to the finals now?
What do you the teams right now, because they haven't had the same luxury of playing in the 2000s.
Oh,
So you're basing it off eras now. So you're saying that the era was a lot easier for them to make it, even though the Rockets were in position. The Rockets were just in position too.
I mean,
They
were
made
a
it to the
game
Western
away, bro. It's
Conference
not like-
Finals twice. They did make it two times under James Harden, and they failed to make it to the finals.
Did Chris Paul have the Defensive Player of the Year or the Coach of the Year? Answer my question.
Did Chris Paul?
Yeah, did Chris Paul
James
have
Harden?
the defensive? Either or. Did they have the Defensive Player of the Year and the Coach of the
DeAndre
Year?
win? Did DeAndre win?
Didn't Mike D'Antoni win the Coach of the Year that year that they went to the Western Conference Finals in Game 7?
Yeah, and didn't DeAndre win DOP in Clippers?
Say it again.
Didn't DeAndre win the Defensive Player of the Year?
No, DeAndre Jordan didn't win it, but I could have sworn Mike D'Antoni won Coach of the Year in 2020, the year that Chris Paul was there, and for that year.
And he had the Defensive Player of the Year too.
No, he didn't have.
Well, what's wrong with after DeAndre Jordan?
Okay,
Hold on, time out. Before you give out an award, there's a pool of players that are eligible to win the award. So you have a mix of players that are Defensive Player of the Year worthy players, i.e. DeAndre Jordan, i.e. Sal, give me the center on Houston right now.
I'm sorry, what?
Clint Capella.
Who's the center on Houston with the
It was Clint Capella.
Capella.
Yeah. So he definitely has.
Capella is terrible. Come on. If you watch the games, you will know he's food on defense. Come on. Mutombo was so.
Yeah, right. But again, I answered your question. So they had that year in 2018, James Harden won the MVP, and they also had the Coach of the Year, Mike D'Antoni, that year, right? So if you're looking at it from that aspect, should they not have made it or no? Because you're saying that they didn't have equally what he had. Andres?
Won in the 2017.
I can't hear you, Coach.
Can you hear me?
No, I could. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right, Jordan. It was 2017 he won. He was still a Coach of the Year. Fine. He didn't win it the year that they made it, but he still was a Coach of the Year.
But in 2001, they won the Coach of the Year, and Mutombo won Defensive Player of the Year. So
let me ask you a question. You think Mutombo and Larry Brown were more responsible for them going to the finals than Allen Iverson?
Yes. I think that's what he's saying.
And you agree with that, Jordan?
Absolutely.
That Dikembe and
I think you could
Larry
put
Brown
anybody in his spot. As inefficient as AI was, as Chuck shooter, like as much of a Chuck shooter as AI was, I absolutely think you could put anybody in that spot, any other star in that spot.
I want to talk about chucking, but hasn't Harden gone 1 for 18 from 3 before? I mean, I don't think anything.
But
if I may, if you look at Harden's career field goal percentage, I think it's 1% above Allen Iverson's at the end of the day. And what Allen Iverson got out of his 42.5%, I'm saying is more than what Harden gets out of his 43.5%.
And here's the other question. I have. If you guys are basically saying that Allen Iverson, like, it was because of Dikembe Mutombo and Larry Brown, great coach. But Allen Iverson also won the scoring title that year, and he also won the MVP that year. So by your basis, he didn't deserve to win it because he's a shot chucker. That's the narrative that you're basically saying right now. So is that true? Yes or no?
I would hope if you take 28, 29 shots a game, you would win the scoring title.
What? That doesn't guarantee that.
Jordan, are you agreeing with that? That's basically what you say. He won the MVP that year. So you're saying he didn't deserve the MVP that year. And by your basis.
Listen.
Well, basically, I think that's what they're both saying, because they're not crediting Iverson. They're crediting.
So
Larry
again,
Brown
just say yes or no. Right.
We're talking about the playoffs. You guys criticize Harden for the playoffs. We're talking about the playoffs.
No, you can't. But Andres, you can't do that.
No,
though. First you talk about you win seasons, and then you want to switch it and say now it's about the playoffs. So because switching your narrative.
What we're talking about right now is the playoffs.
What happened?
It's the same thing, though.
Andres, hold on a minute. Can I say something, guys?
Go ahead.
Andres, 5 minutes ago, you brought up the fact that they haven't won more than 50 games. That's one way you wanted to go. So, Absolutely. And again, I asked you, where has 65 wins gotten the Rockets, and you still haven't answered to me.
They were one game away from the finals.
Now you go ahead and now you change it. Okay, one game away from the finals and making the finals is two different things.
Shooting 5 to 27%.
Now you don't want to give Iverson credit for winning the MVP.
Only one person can talk at a time. It's the only way it works.
Now you want to discredit Iverson for winning the scoring title, winning the MVP, because both of you just said that the reason why the 76ers were that good was because of Mutombo and Larry Brown. So, really? Okay. All right. I mean, I guess if that's the way you're going to go, that's really not how, if that's your argument, that's pretty.
But you know what? Honestly,
bad.
I'm just trying. Again, I'm in the interest of fairness. I'm basically just trying to understand. Is it going to be about the regular season or about the playoffs? Because when we talk about the regular season, you guys are saying, Allen Iverson didn't win a championship, or it wasn't him and he had a bad finals. Okay, but then when I switch it to the regular season and say he won the scoring title and MVP, you're basically saying that wasn't him. That was Larry Brown.
Oh, Allen Iverson has 4 scoring titles, and James Harden is on his way to 3. So why are you saying?
How many does James Harden have right now, though?
He's gonna have 3 when the season's over.
Oh, but how many does he have right now? I'm not talking about when the season's over. I'm talking about right now.
If the season was to be tomorrow, he'd have had 3.
But we're talking. But how many does he have? You're still not answering the question. He doesn't have
right
3.
Now
Right
now he has 2.
He has two. Right. But again, you're basically saying that without Larry Brown, Dikembe and Mutombo are the reasons the Sixers made it to the finals. It wasn't Allen Iverson.
So why did the 76ers trade for Mutombo at the trade deadline if they had a good record?
But that's not what we're arguing. I don't want to get off.
Why are we going into Mutombo?
We're talking about AI.
You brought up Joel Embiid. You brought up every 76er of today. Why don't we stick on the context of Iverson and Harden? That's
right.
It.
And again,
bottom line.
Just answer the question. Just say it. You both are basically saying that, and you're discrediting. You said Allen Iverson without Larry Brown and Dikembe Mutombo, they don't make it to the finals, and it's not because of Allen Iverson. Is that what you said? Yes or no?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
Andres is basing this off of the help that
I think that's patently offensive. I think what has to be brought up here, and the overarching theme over this whole conversation, is that, gentlemen, one day it's going to be 2040, Lord willing, and we're still here. People are going to talk shit about 2020, and you're going to have to sit here and be like, no, it's not true. So take that with a grain of salt of how nonchalantly you're just dismissing Allen Iverson, and it's an open and shut case that before his career is even over, that James Harden is better than him. Before making the finals as a lead dog, his career is better than
Let me ask this question.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Go ahead.
Travis and Sal, what do you think? Like, entertain me. What exactly is AI better than? If you could name a couple things, like, entertain me. And I just want to know.
Like I said, so if I and Sal, so I'll let you go. I'll be quick. Like I said.
No, that's fine.
Okay. If you're taking a basketball player and you're splitting up what you need from them, right? And you say 75% of what you need lies on the offensive side. 25% of what you need lies on the defensive side, right? So I'm even giving and credit. Nowadays it might be 80-20, with the way the game has changed. I'm saying that on the offensive side, Harden is probably a 70. AI is probably like a 65. On the defensive side, Harden's a 0. And AI is like a 15 or 20 because of the way he could defend the pass lanes and affect the game on defense. And win
3-time steals leader, by the way, just to throw that out there, Iverson.
Can I say one thing before you continue?
Sal's next. Go ahead. Sorry, Sal's after you, Andre. Sorry.
So you do realize that Harden is statistically a better playoff defender than AI is, right? You're aware of that?
Yeah, see, defensive metrics, though, they haven't been around long enough for me to, personally me, and I'm not trying to knock them, to trust them in a way of actually looking at the ways the game is affected and how a team plans for another player off defensively. So on AI, a point guard had to know, where is he? He's always in the pass, and that comes from him being a better athlete, too, than Harden, a better overall athlete.
Sal, go ahead. You had a point to make?
Well, not a point. I just had another question. You asked me how Iverson is a better leader. You still haven't answered, or maybe it was breaking up. How has Harden been a leader? What has he done other than score 36 points a game for one season? How is he that much better of a leader? Where has his team gone?
Drags his team.
Where has his team gone? What?
So what did Allen? Let me ask you something.
So hold on, Andres. I have one quick point because we're running out. We have like 10 minutes left. I wanted to ask the Sixers, and you guys said this, and I give James Harden credit because once he got traded from OKC to Houston, he has definitely put them on the map. He's been able to take them to Western Conference.
You called him a bum.
Say it again.
You called him a bum.
Okay, I did, but we're not talking about. But we're not talking about what I said. But okay, I'll continue. So he was able to lead them to the Western Conference Finals 2 times. Now, Allen Iverson, what were the Sixers doing before Allen Iverson was drafted in 1996? And this is after Charles Barkley left that team. What were they before that?
Crickets. You're asking me?
No, I'm asking Andres and Jordan. Yeah, I'm sorry. Look,
sorry.
yeah. So what were the Sixers before Allen Iverson arrived?
So let me ask you a question. What did the 76ers do after 2001?
Too many questions, not enough answers.
Too many questions.
questions.
He couldn't answer the
Oh, wait.
question.
Hold on a minute.
Question.
How can you answer a question with a question?
He didn't answer my question. And Jordan is just looking at me like he doesn't know what he saw. Like Jordan hasn't said anything. He didn't answer my question.
Let's break it down.
Where were the Sixers in '96? Before Iverson got there, where were they?
Let's break it down.
Where were the Sixers?
Let's break it down. 2000, they were a first-round exit. 1999, they were a first-round exit. 1998, they were first-round exit.
After 96.
The question was,
Before.
where were the 76ers before Iverson?
Jordan, could you answer my question?
Yeah.
Or do you need me to speak Creole, another language, so you can understand? Because I know you talk Creole. You want me to talk a different language?
I don't.
Okay, so answer my question. What were the Sixers doing before Allen Iverson arrived?
So now we're rewarding losing in the playoffs. That's what we're doing?
That's not the question. You're not answering the question. You're not answering the question.
Time out. What was the Rockets
if they were in the mud,
Answer. Final answer doesn't matter.
If they were in the mud, what are he supposed to, like? What does that have anything to do with Harden versus Iverson? What does that have to do with anything? If they were in the mud, where was Houston before James Harden stood up?
You know why it has something to do with
James Harden stood up?
Because again, it
Jordan.
If that matters,
it shows the value.
We're talking Harden versus Iverson.
We are, but we're talking about yes, but we're talking about the value of both of their teams.
We're talking value above replacement. You guys love stats. Value above replacement.
Okay, and you can answer the same thing for Harden. Where was Houston before James Harden stood up? In the mud. They weren't making the playoffs.
Sal, go ahead. Sal. Jordan, hold on 1 second. I know Sal has a point. I'm sorry, Sal. Go ahead.
No, Jordan's asking what difference does that make? So let me ask you and your partner a question. Why is Joel Embiid brought up in this conversation? Where does he play a role in this discussion?
Because the 76ers won 50 games. He's done
That's
more.
what he's saying.
Oh, so
you think that Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons have done more for the Sixers than Allen Iverson?
Their team.
Yes,
man. He didn't go to the finals.
How?
No, are you mad?
What are you talking about?
How
do you guys know the last time the Sixers
and they're putting two guys against one?
Conference finals?
Yo, listen. If AI had an Embiid type, they would have won the chip. If AI was playing with an Embiid type, they would have won the chip.
Right now, we're not dealing with ifs right now. We're dealing with the facts. The facts are that.
And you want the facts, and you guys are making it so hard right now because I'm trying to understand your perspective, but I'm really not understanding it because again, you're talking about the facts. The facts are the Sixers haven't made it to the Eastern Conference Finals with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. They haven't made it to the finals since Allen Iverson.
This is a deflection.
When was the last time the Rockets made it to the finals, though? Have they made it to the finals with James Harden? No.
You're deflecting.
How am I deflecting, though?
Because we're talking about Harden versus Iverson.
You can't even answer the question about. You can't even answer a question that Carl asked you.
Why did the 76ers trade for Mutombo in 2001?
To improve the team.
Oh, to improve the team. Magically, they improved the team.
Okay. So you know what? Let me ask this question. So you asked that question. So then, why did the Rockets trade for Chris Paul?
They already made the conference finals in 2015. It's not like they did it before.
So then, why did they trade for Chris Paul? Then what's the point of trading for Chris Paul?
But in 2015, they already made.
You're not answering the question, Jordan. Could you answer? I'm not answering my question, Jordan, because he's not answering my question. Travis, go ahead, because he's not answering my question. Go ahead, Travis.
They traded for him to improve the team. The same reason they got Mutombo.
But there's a difference.
But AI carried his team to the finals, though. So why did they trade for Mutombo?
Wait, was that with or without Mutombo?
Hold on, time out. Wait a minute. What's more of a duplication of services? AI getting Mutombo for AI or getting Chris Paul or Westbrook or Harden? What's more of a duplication of services, you would say? You know, did they think like, well, we have a scorer, we need to bolster our scoring because AI is not carrying this load. Let's go get the Kembe Mutombo to bolster AI. Or first of all, and Carl, if I can make one more quick one.
Go ahead.
AI is a more versatile player too, because AI can play off the ball. AI can play two guard off the ball. He can run on the baseline like Reggie Miller.
James Harden.
He showed his efficiency and he showed his effectiveness in a two-man game in Denver with Melo.
We're not talking about Denver AI. We're not talking about.
We're running up on time.
Why did the Nuggets?
We're not talking about Denver AI. We're talking
why
about.
Can't you talk about? We're talking about Allen Iverson in general. Why couldn't he bring up Denver AI?
Okay, so I could bring up longevity. I could bring up the fact that the Nuggets traded AI for Chauncey Billups and they got drastically better because they made the Western Conference Finals.
Okay. So we're coming up on points. We're coming up on time here. Let's just get in final points. Sal, what's your final point here on this take?
My final point is, like everybody likes to mention, at the end of the day, one player was able to take his team to the final, or I should say, help lead his team to the finals, and the other player hasn't.
Okay.
That's it.
Andres, what's your last point, bro?
Allen Iverson did not carry the 76ers to the finals, and James Harden, it will be a better player than AI can ever dream of.
Travis, final take?
Well, I think Andres just gave up the victory because he said he will be, and I agree. Harden's book is
He is already. It's okay.
Harden's
it's
book,
okay.
sorry, semantics, sorry. Harden's book is not written yet, but at this current moment in time that we're having this debate, he's not better than Allen Iverson.
It's okay.
Jordan, final point?
Statistics show it. Everything shows it. Maybe besides the fact that he might have played in the easier East. I mean, but everything else, everything points to Harden is better. I don't know what else you need. You know, if you don't watch the Rockets games, I mean, that explains it as to why you might not think that, why you might think that Iverson is better. If you haven't watched Rockets games since 2012, 2013, that's fair. But, I mean, you know, James Harden is better.
All right, well, we'll let the fans decide. I know the fans in the group are highly anticipating this debate. We'll let them watch it. We'll let them think and give their opinion on who won. If we need to have a part 2, you guys know I love having Zoom, so we can have another part 2 edition. Thank you guys for joining me on another edition of the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. Please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, all our content on social media. You gentlemen have a good evening. I hope you're practicing the social distancing and everyone is staying safe. And thank you again for coming on the show.
It was a pleasure, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.
Peace, Carl.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good job, guys.